Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox. That's Eric Johansson. I'm one of the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. Eric's a teacher with us here at LSAT Demon. Eric, we've got an email here from Kat. The subject is too old to wait for the perfect LSAT score. And, long story short, you're too old not to wait for the perfect LSAT score, Kat. No matter what you say next, I am never going to accept the idea that you need to hurry your LSAT journey, because you're talking about 6 figures worth of law school tuition that's on the line. And I've just never, ever told anyone, I've never endorsed anybody's plan to hurry up because of their age. That's not a thing.
Yeah. Well, what Kat says next is, I'm almost 30.
Okay, that's a totally normal time to be going to law school. That's not even old at all. When you said you're too old to wait, I thought you meant 60, and I was still going to tell you no. Now you're telling me you're 30. I'm definitely going to tell you no. But anyway, go ahead.
I'm almost 30. I've worked for attorneys in full-time positions for the last couple of years, fluent in Spanish, and I'm seeking to be an immigration attorney.
Excellent.
I want kids before I'm 35. And I don't think being pregnant or having an infant during law school sounds fun.
But people do it all the time. Demon team member Becca, what do you remember exactly her timeline for having a kid?
I think she gave birth while she was in law school. I don't remember that for sure, but she certainly had a baby, an infant, throughout part of law school.
Crushed it in law school, totally killed it. I think it makes a lot more sense to have a kid while you're in law school than it does to have a kid in the first few years of legal practice. And I just can't imagine what Kat's going to say how does that matter to her rushing the LSAT? I don't get it.
Well, having an infant during law school doesn't
sound fun. Yeah. Having an infant doesn't sound fun.
And law school for many people is
law
also
school
not
was
not
definitely
fun.
not fun for me. So none of this is fun. But that's what your vision is for your life. So that's what you're going to have to do. But that none of that should ever be taken as a reason to apply to law school with a bad LSAT.
Kat continues, I've heard your advice to college students applying, but my situation is different. I cannot wait for the next cycle.
Yes, you can.
I had a 4.0 GPA in college,
Great.
and I just took the February 2025 LSAT. So I'm not sure of my score, but my highest practice score was a 156. And then it looks like, in parentheses, I only found out about LSAT Demon a few weeks before my LSAT and had gone through 4 other LSAT prep books before that. Don't laugh.
That's very common. People come to us as refugees from other LSAT prep all the time. So that's really common. I wouldn't laugh at you at all for any of this. I just think, is 156 going to get you to the type of schools you want to go to at the price you want to pay? Because I feel like a 4.0 and a 156, law schools are going to be licking their chops. You're going to look like a great applicant at a lot of mediocre law schools. I'm just not sure that you're going to pay the right price. I think that they're going to charge you a lot more than you really want to pay. If you instead waited and applied with a 166, then now you're going to be looking at full rides at all kinds of schools across the country. Full ride, even maybe plus stipend. And, having an infant and working in immigration law, that's expensive. Law school is even more expensive than that, or law school is really, really, really expensive. And you might save yourself $200,000. So I guarantee that doing it 1 year later, but saving yourself $200,000 is worth it. And I think that's what would happen if you did it our way.
I think that is really, economists like to talk about the utility of life decisions and asking yourself questions like, how much is it worth it for me to delay a year? Or how much would I have to be paid to make the decision to delay a year?
Yeah.
That much money sounds pretty good.
You're not making that much money working for attorneys. I mean, most attorneys don't make that much money. So there's no way that you're making $200,000 in a year working for an attorney right now. And you're not going to make $200,000 in a year as an attorney, especially not in immigration law, unless you own your own firm. Mm-hmm. So this is the most valuable thing you can possibly do, is to get yourself a full ride plus stipend if possible to law school. And you definitely can with that 4.0. You just need to not make that 4.0 sad by applying with a score in the 150s when I'm pretty sure you could get yourself a score in the 160s.
Let's finish up with Kat. Thoughts
Yeah,
on weekend JD programs?
love it.
Weekend
Great.
JD programs.
Well, whatever. There's part-time, there's weekend, there's hybrid,
Yeah.
there's various programs. I would look into them all. I would look at the American Bar Association 509 reports to see if their part-time programs give scholarship money. I would apply very broadly so that you get a wide range of offers. And, doing weekends so that you can work while you're in school is awesome. If you do weekend and get a scholarship and keep working, all the better. I have no problem at all with weekend JD programs.
Yeah. Maybe it is. Oh, wait. First, she asks thoughts on mothers in law school. I think we've already touched on
Happens
that.
all the time.
Totally
I mean,
fine.
there was a
Yeah.
girl in my 1L class who was pregnant who dropped out, but there's plenty of people who have kids in law school. Law school is not as hard as people make it out to be. You can make it out to be an 80-hour-a-week job and still really struggle, or you can do it in 30 hours a week and kick ass. And it's just kind of, it depends on your work ethic, how seriously you take it when you're taking it seriously, and how good you are about saying no to all the ancillary things that law school might try to demand of you.
Mm.
Um, you don't have to do everything, is what I'm saying. You need to pick your spots and do the things that are really going to matter. So getting good grades really matters,
Hmm.
but you don't have to do everything to get good grades, and you don't have to do all the other stuff that law school is going to be trying to get you to go eat free pizza because some law firm wants to try to recruit you or whatever. You just don't have to do those things. You definitely don't have to go to the party on the boat that your 1L class is putting together, wasting all their time organizing 1L prom. And it's just like, there's what? No, I don't. I'm a grown up. I don't need to do those things. Kat, you sound like obviously a grown up. So you're going to skip all those things. If you do weekend or part time JD, those things might not even be really there, which is good for you because you're going to just do the shit that matters and not all the like, party stuff. I really just don't think it's a problem to be a mother in law school.
Yeah. And I think Kat comes around to seeing it our way in the end of her email. Maybe it is better to have a kid in law school and get a free ride than be paying off debt for years. After all, big bucks aren't in immigration law.
Big bucks aren't in law pretty much generally. I mean, it's a lot harder to make big money in law than people think it is. Immigration law for sure. Like if you're thinking of law as a helping profession, you're probably not going to get rich doing it. So, it's very admirable and it's awesome that you've got experience and you're fluent in Spanish and you're going to go help a lot of people, but unless you're helping rich people, you're not probably going to be charging them a lot of money for your services. So yeah, you're just not going to be getting rich in immigration law. Yeah, you could like very conceivably save 5 times as much money as you're going to make per year in the beginning days of your practice. You might be able to save 5 times that much money by getting yourself the right LSAT and going to law school for free instead of just diving right in and just start accruing tuition debt and interest on that debt. Yeah, I mean,
I think the
Kat,
older you get to, at least I've experienced this, the older I've gotten, the more I've come to realize just how much money that money is, what the law schools are asking you to pay if they don't give you any kind of scholarship. It's just,
it's obscene.
yeah,
I mean, it's wild. It's yeah, like it's a down payment on a house or just straight up an actual house, depending on where you live,
yeah.
is what they're going to charge you for this piece of paper. And they are at the same time not charging other people for that same piece of paper. So you don't want to be one of the people who's going to pay $200,000 for something that someone else is going to pay zero for. And that doesn't change in Kat's situation at all. Matter of fact, I would think that for somebody in Kat's situation, wants to start a family and wants to work in a non-lucrative legal career, it's far more important, Kat, that you don't accrue this debt. If I was talking to a 19-year-old K through JD who was going to go straight into big law, I could conceivably say, okay, yeah, fine. In big law, at least, you might start out with a $220,000 salary and maybe be able to put away enough money to pay off your debt. And maybe it's not that big of a deal. But for somebody who's going to go work in immigration law, unless you're going to rely on federal loan repayment, which especially given the current climate about federal expenditures,
Yeah.
are you really going to rely on that and just sign your name and borrow $250,000 in the hopes that this federal loan repayment program is going to still exist 10 years from now. Maybe it will. It might be totally gone by the end of this year. I don't know.
Have you seen
I
the
do know-
proposal? Have you seen the proposal to tax scholarship dollars? This is going off in a completely different direction, but
that's hilarious because it's fake money. I mean,
Yeah.
they shouldn't. Well, now if it's scholarship money from an outside source, then those seem like real dollars. But if it's scholarship money from the school itself, that just doesn't feel at all like real money to me. That's a tuition discount, and like I don't think that if I use a coupon to buy bologna for 25 cents off, that I should have to pay tax on the 25-cent coupon, right? So if a law school wants to give people free tuition, that just seems wildly absurd that they would charge tax on that.
yeah, especially if a government is deciding to impose that tax when government decisions are largely to blame for the inflation of school prices.
Yeah.
Just
don't pay for law school. I mean,
yes, don't pay for law school.
If you don't have to pay for law school, don't pay for law school. And someone like Kat with a 4.0, there are so many law schools that would love to admit you for free, Kat. Let somebody else be the sucker. You do not have to be the sucker. I'll leave it there.
Yep. Thanks, Kat. Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.